Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with me, Gloria Selinda. I am very excited to be with you once more as we continue to reflect on the topic of true personal identity. Today's reflection is on how your self protection can move you away from your true personal identity. What do I mean? All of us are designed to protect ourselves from different types of vulnerabilities. So when I talk about vulnerabilities, I'm referring to areas where we feel out of control, areas where we feel exposed, areas where we feel discomfort in handling, areas where we are challenged in one way or another in terms of addressing those areas or responding effectively. So when you feel helpless or you feel naturally, as a human being, you are designed to protect yourself one way or another. It's that concept of fight, flight, or freeze. However, it's very important for us to be mindful of how we protect ourselves. We need to be mindful of the different strategies that we employ in order to protect ourselves. Are these strategies that are helping our growth in our true personal identity journey, or are they strategies that move us away from our true personal identity? And you may be asking, what's the difference? So, your true personal identity is based on your value system, your belief system, who you are as a person, not only outwardly, but as a spirit being. But it is also the thoughts that you have about yourself. It takes into account the fears that you have, and it takes into account the things that you aspire to. At times, you may be employing a strategy that moves you away because it does not allow you to interrogate what is happening, to process fully what is happening, and to adequately respond to whatever is happening at that time. And it doesn't mean that you always have to respond at the time that you are facing a challenge or you are required to respond. But it does mean that whatever strategy that you employ needs to help you to address and to respond adequately. I'll share two strategies that are most commonly employed that move us away from our true personal identities. One of them is silence. When an individual decides to not engage in whether it is a conversation, whether it is a conflict, but they keep quiet. And the keeping quiet is not a way of just listening to what is happening so that I can respond, but it is a form of withdrawing. That form of silence is taking you away from your true personal identity, because then it means it is a form of running away from addressing an issue, running away from standing up for yourself. Because remember, true personal identity means that you have personal agency. You can stand up for yourself, you can speak up, you can address things that you need to address. But in this case, the silence just takes you away from an effective way of addressing an issue. Again, this silence is also not the form of silence where someone says, I will address this at a later point. That's the first one. The second one is always being ready to defend yourself. And I mean, being very reactive mostly, and in a way that is an attack to another person whom you deem is bringing this challenge to you. So when you are always ready to defend yourself, you are missing an opportunity to listen actively. You are missing an opportunity to process what is happening at that time, and you are missing an opportunity to allow yourself to feel the emotions that are associated with what is happening at that time, because that is part of you processing what you are going through. Instead, you decide to defend yourself based on past experience, based on your perception about the individual, even based on the assumptions that you've made about the individual and whatever they are going to bring to you. So that also moves you away from your true personal identity. The true personal identity requires you to know yourself and respond in a way that serves your values, that serves your belief system. In the case of being silent, you don't speak up when you are required. In the case of speaking too quickly or being overly reactive or being too defensive, you actually speak too quickly. So there isn't a balance around managing yourself against whatever is thrown at you. But both strategies are robbing you of an opportunity to walk in your true personal identity. Before I carry on, I would like to appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the feedback. For everyone who has subscribed, I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button and please remember to share the link with others so that we can continue to learn and grow together. I also want us to reflect on what causes this way of protecting oneself. Most of the time, it is fear. It is fear of one thing or another. It could be fear of vulnerability, it could be fear of rejection, it could be fear of conflict. And the reality is that when one responds from an area of fear, the response is most of the time not adequate, not in line with one's true personal identity. So the call to action is please reflect for yourself how you do respond to situations. Reflect what is driving the form of response that you are showing. So the thing to remember is that it is very important to protect yourself, but it is also very important to ensure that how you protect yourself is aligned with your true personal identity. True personal identity gives you personal agency, and if as you reflect for yourself, you realize that you have been giving your power to other people in the name of protecting yourself, then it is time to do things differently. And to everyone who says they find their identity in God, I want to remind you of the scripture in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 that says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." I hope that will contribute to doing things differently going forward. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until next time.